Today I'm going to give a couple pointers on how to rack a front squat. I'm not an expert, I'm not the greatest squatter in the world, but after front squatting a while, I can front squat about 80, maybe 80, 90% of what I can back squat. I'm not certain, I'm going to have to test that out. But if you can back squat fairly deep, mid-bar, low bar gets a little more confusing, but mid-bar, if you're doing kind of mid-bar to high bar squats and you're squatting deep, if you learn to front squat properly, you should be able to front squat at least about 80%, if not 70% of what you can back squat. So when you go to do your front squat workouts, it's not a waste of time for your quadriceps because you're not wasting a lot of time keeling over. Now, first thing you need to do is to get your wrist flexible. So I'm gonna go over here to my wall here. And see what I'm doing here? I've got my hand flush against the wall. Do that with each wrist. If that's not happening, that's obviously a limiting factor in your ability to rack a front squat. But if you can do this, you can rack a front squat. Now there's one other limiting factor, and this is a good excuse for bodybuilders, especially the guys with huge arms, is bicep flexibility. More so biceps flexibility, but the bigger your bicep is, the harder it is going to be to rack a front squat. Now the thing here is I go and I approach the bar, where you place your hands can be different. If you're an Olympic lifter and you probably have a little bit of a wider clean grip, you're going to want to be able to rack a front squat fairly wide, within the rings, but fairly wide. So I'm coming up here, I've got my hands on, and the first thing I want to do is just shoot one elbow up like that, and then I want to shoot the other elbow up like that. And this involves a lot of external rotation. So you got two more limiting factors. One could be bicep flexibility. My arms aren't that big, so I can get that right there. Notice my hand is wider than my shoulder. If it was right here, this would be kind of weird. So I'm doing that. Other limiting factor is external rotation. I'm rotating my shoulder back. My traps are pulling down. So if you've ever done you've taken a pull-up bar, not a pull-up bar, a pull-down bar, and done like kind of a trap pull-down like that, that bottom position, your traps are lower. That's what you want, that lower trap. The other thing you want when you're going to rack a front squat, you want a big chest. So think Muscle Beach chest. Think of the chest that you used when you met your loved one at the beach and you showed up and your chest was big. That's the chest you want to go to the squat rack with. So I'm going to the squat rack, I've got the big chest, I've got my traps pulled down, externally rotating one and the other, and then up. This is where you're holding it. I don't have a Kung Fu death grip on the bar. No need to have a Kung Fu death grip. My big chest, my traps being pulled down, holding the bar up. Now I'd like to point out that the traditional front squat is a better alternative to the bodybuilder front squat because you're not rounding your shoulders as much. Therefore, your core is stronger and you're lifting more weight. Now here I am. Sometimes I do move this slow, but this is me in slow motion. I'm trying to keep my elbows up, my chest big. A little different than a powerlifting squat. You're sitting between your ankles a little more. I'm not as vertical as I could be, but vertical enough to keep that bar up. This is no problem for me, sitting down in a hole, coming back up, keeping my traps down, my shoulders rotated. I'm getting pulled up with my elbows, trying to fight to keep those elbows up, keeping the chest big, and racking the squat. Like I said, once you have this movement down, you should be able to work with 70, 80, even 90% of what you can back squat, depending on your style. So if you have any questions, send me a message. I hope this video was of some help. Hey, if I could front squat, some of you guys should be able to front squat too. Catch you later.